What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. This is RyanREAX, another video. If it's your first time here, that's cool, but if not, if you're a returning visitor, that's awesome too. Definitely go to the comment section below and then post a video that you'd like me to react to, whether it's a song or a podcast or just whatever you like, just post and I will definitely get to it. Right now, we are looking at a portrait that I admittedly forgot to give to my client yesterday. I always do same day edits and album delivery. And this one kind of just flew right over my head, I guess. So looking at this portrait in general, I like the bokeh, which is the background blur. I like the backdrop in general with the beautiful flowers. And then the subject, really attractive, really cool. As far as the pose, it's pretty basic. We were doing all types of different posing, like hands on the hip, hands in the hair, just looking away from the camera, looking at different things. But for this one, I just wanted her to just be in her element, just be comfortable, and just stand in a neutral position with her hands just down and just resting with a nice smile, which I feel like we achieved that. So I was just tinkering with the sliders, and I figured, you know what, let's record this. What's cool is I normally just use a mouse, but today we're going to be incorporating, which I've had this since I started photography, but I haven't used it in a while. This Wacom pen and touch. So what's cool about it is, see, touch off, touch on. Why isn't it? What the heck? Hold on. The touch. Okay, now the touch portion's working. That was weird. Didn't work for a second. So I can literally pinch the zoom. I could just move around, and then yeah, I could just click and drag the zoom with the pen. So the thing about all tools is you don't have to go overboard with just one tool. I'm still going to use the mouse to click on stuff and to do certain things, but it's really fun to use this pen for doing like skin brushing and just different things. Alright, so looking at this shot, the exposure, it was very overcast. In fact, you can actually see the raindrops coming down, but we were still shooting anyway. I'm going to brighten up the scene just a little bit, and there's many different ways to do this. But you can even just use a radical filter, and then you can basically do two things with it. Number one, depending on what you click, anything inside of the radical filter will be changed. And you can pick based on inside or outside. See, now it's everything on the inside of it that changes. But we will just zero everything out. And then we'll figure it out together. Could even feather. So we want everything outside to come up just a little bit. Because like I said, I wanted to bring the exposure up. So even just like that's looking good. And another way you can do it is by using the adjustment brush and then just painting over whatever you'd like to change. And everything will change in real time as you're doing it. So even if I stop brushing, I can then use the sliders and pick what I want to change. Now, the only reason why it's not as good as like even the radical filter for certain cases is you have to be really precise, and if you want to be accurate and not hit like skin and stuff like that, see that how I kind of already hit her pants, and of course I did that intentionally, but it's just to show you that it's going to hit whatever you have hit, which you might not want that look. But in this case, it's actually kind of working out. And I'm liking the results. It's before and after, and I think it looks really good. Sometimes I'll just hit OK to just look at the image as is. And yeah, it looks really good. I like that. There's this little button. I know I have photoshopped it off of other shots. It's kind of interesting, but that's what I'm going to do here. And what I'm using here, by the way, I forgot to use the pen, but again, you don't always have to use a tool. This is called the patch tool. So with the patch tool, you drag around something and then you click and then put it wherever you want to sample. So see how her skin's there, and then so wherever you put it is where it's going to go. It's a very forgiving tool. I use it a lot with skin retouching, and as an example, like let's say if I didn't want these raindrops, I could just get rid of them, but I kind of like the raindrops. Now, for like skin, as I was saying just a bit ago before the raindrop distracted me, you can just click over on something and then drag it to another spot. So right now we're just doing blemish control. We're just moving some of the acne. And it's a very forgiving tool. I think I already addressed that, but can't address it enough. And then another tool you could use would be like the clone stamp. Clone stamp, I generally will just use the mouse for its precision, because it's not really meant to be like this, but it's meant to be like clicked. So you press left alt, you click on somewhere that you want to sample. Let's go back to the tool. So this spot here looks clean. Click there and then put it over whatever you want to paint. But I don't think it's for this type of retouching. It's not really the best idea, but it's great for certain elements. You can get away with it on skin, but it's to me it's much harder. But for instance, these baby hairs, I'm just going to sample the green and then paint over. See, it's much better for stuff like this. But even, I mean, all tools have their purpose, and you just need to know what is best to use and when. But even using the patch tool, let's see how, because it's different color contrast, so for this case I would use the clone stamp to really make it much more precise. And you can combine the two. So let's say if I painted like around here, now the entire circle is going to have the same color contrast and it's going to be perfect. See? So just to like remove some baby hairs. So even this ain't going to work the first time, but it's a forgiving tool. And by that, what I mean is if you zoom in, you can kind of see how it starts to blotch, but it did a really fantastic job with it. So I really can't complain too much. And then there's another tool too that I don't recommend using on skin, like certain types of skin, but it's just the spot healing brush. So you just go over stuff and click. What it's doing is it's finding sample spots around that area to fill in. Which it can be cool for certain things, like it most likely would work in this scenario. Where are we at? Okay. So if I were to just paint over the baby hair, see? It works really well too. I just don't use it often. And sometimes it'll bring stuff back that you don't want it to bring. You just gotta be careful with corners and edges. But it would work perfectly in these raindrops. See? Like, no issue. Even bigger ones, like, see, no issue with that. I'm gonna bring them back, though. So yeah, just a few different tools that pretty much do similar jobs, but in different ways. Let's go back into camera raw. Because right now what I want to do is I want to show you saturation. So for saturation, we could do multiple things. We can click on HSL adjustments, and then we could just saturate whatever color we want. So there's green, we could just bring the greens up, bring the yellows up, maybe the magentas, the purples. You can really go overboard. Hue will change the color in general. So like, see if you wanted to make it look more like foresty or more like fall, you can play with that. And then luminance is the light output of that color. It doesn't change the color, but it changes the tone of the color, if that makes sense. It just makes it so like how her shirt is like turning that color, because there's purples in the white. Same with skin. It's kind of interesting. Went from black to white back to brown. It's pretty cool. But I never use it on like orange, because orange is primarily for no matter what your race, nationality is, the orange tones are more in the skin. You could be Chinese, white, black, Mexican, doesn't matter. Orange really plays a role. A lot of times, if the flash is a little bit overbearing on like skin, and again, it doesn't matter what nationality you are, I'll just reduce the oranges a bit. For these purples, we're gonna bring back down because the white in her shirt was really affected. But what's cool is what you can do is you can make a duplicate layer. So all I did is I clicked. You can right click and just hit where is it, duplicate layer. But you can also click, drag down to this plus in the box, and it's gonna duplicate it. See, delete key to delete. But that's not what I want to do. What I want to do is I want to copy this. So I press Control C and Control V. So all it did was I don't know why sometimes it'll like, it's on point, but it was weird. It looked like it moved. It like does move, but it doesn't. So weird. When you zoom in, it just doesn't move. And the reason why I did that is because this is the layer I have selected. Now, no matter what I change in here, it's not going to change the top layer. I have the wrong one. Well, you won't see it, watch. So even if let's say if I do that, watch this. See? So although you see it in camera raw, it's technically not really there. And the reason why I'm doing that is because now I can go ahead and increase these purples and magentas, and it's not going to affect the shirt. See? Because of that layer that I copied. The only issue is you see this line here. But what I can do is I can would using the eraser wouldn't, no. Yeah, using the eraser tool, I can just erase what I want to come back. For the most part. Only in that layer though. It worked out. Let me see what else. It's basically it. And then what I can do is I can just merge the layers. Now, looking at this shot, if you really want to fix up like skin texture, you just grab the adjustment brush and then do minus texture and just paint over whatever area you'd like to reduce skin quality. That's the thing about these higher megapixel cameras too. I mean, they capture everything. So you could just bring that down and maybe even the clarity just a bit. Not much, because you'll lose the lines and the eyes and everything. It just doesn't look realistic. So you can really go overboard. But we'll go like minus 38. Did that? I didn't mean to do that. Okay. And then from here, because the texture is lessened, now I can go back to the patch tool and then really do fine tweaking using the Wacom pad to really help with blemish control. You just gotta be careful with your texture. You don't want the shot to look extremely fake. You want it to still have that realistic look, but you just want to make the skin more natural. I mean, everyone gets acne, it's normal. So acne will go away, so you make it look natural as to where if the acne just wasn't there. Just makes a more flattering shot. Now, see the little the lighting on the nose? Some people like that, I don't. So I just remove it using the patch tool. Patch tool is like the more versatile tool. See this little baby hair? What you doing, huh? No, go on the computer. Alright, play Roblox. No, it's dead. Tablet's dead. And it's pretty tedious, but just go on the computer, Addy. I was pressing buttons on my pen, so it was being weird. Little dark spot on the cheek. That. Okay, I'm liking this shot so far. And then, similar with teeth, you just go to saturation with an adjustment brush, shrink your brush size, which you can do with the left and right bracket, which is next to the P button on the keyboard, so O and P, and then the left and right bracket. But you don't want to see that they turn blue. So you just want to bring it down enough to where it kind of hides the yellow. You can also do this too, which I'll show you. It looks natural like that. But again, you could just put a box, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. Now we have that layer. And then we can zoom in so we can see. And then we can go to the HSL, saturation, and just reduce the yellow. That's it. It just added a little more to it. Wonderful. And then hold Control, click on both, they'll both be selected, right click, merge the layer. That's it. Alright, so she is wearing some blue jeans, but I really want them to look fresh and clean, right? So, yeah, we'll just do it this way. I was gonna just use a brush, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to hit the shirt. It's fine. Control C, Control V. And we're just going to do similar. So on the jeans, we're going to go to saturation and enhance the blue. That's it. See? My goodness, it's being... Okay. See that? So, before, after. The only thing you got to worry about is now up here. So, realistically, what we can do then is we can merge the layer, go back in, and then be really precise with the adjustment brush. So we'll just add some saturation and we'll just paint over just the spots that it didn't saturate. Like the belt loop here, there, and like right under the shirt, and we just bring it up. Maybe a little bit of contrast now. See? Looking good. Looks even. Looks great. Okay. Then we are going to go to liquefy and just make an already amazing expression. Smile. Just look a little bit more touched up. Camera's always going to add 10 pounds. We learned that as kids, so just gonna lose that 10 pounds. Big smile. Change the placement, make the eyes a little bigger. Change like just a little bit of where like the look right there. Before, after, before, after. Just a little bit of changes goes a long way. Wonderful. Now, this shot's basically done, but I always just like to add my own little flare. So we're going to add a little bit of saturation to just the flowers that are in focus to really make them eye-catching. Clarity, dehaze, bring the exposure down. Boom. Because I like it to where your eyes go all over the place. Like, it's like you want to look here, but then you also want to look here or here. You just want to look. Like, I don't know where to look, but I just want to look everywhere. Back here. Okay, we'll fix that. It's because of the way the light hit. It didn't hit back there, which is fine. Just add some saturation right back here. Looks good now. It's perfect. Simple. So easy. Shoulders. Need to add a little bit of white to the shoulders. That's clipping. You can see the clipping with the red. Do this side. That's it. Yeah. Those raindrops on the shirt. Yeah, that's sick. Like you can see the raindrops on her shirt. That's crazy. What else? Like, oh yeah, her hair. Right. Okay. I was like, I knew there was something I was missing. I'm gonna shrink the brush. Just make her hair just a little thicker. Shrink her neck just a hair. No pun intended. And expand the hair. Gotta be really careful because you don't want to expand the face. Just preserve the shape. Yes, I like that. Oh, I gotta shrink this. There, that's it. We just double check. Alright, right here is a little less round. Gotta fix that. There we go, I like that. And then the shoulders we can actually bring down just a bit. She's more relaxed. There. Looking awesome. Because there's no separation, I can't really do the hips the way I'd want, which is fine. That's why we do the hands on the hip with the big gap, because it makes the the frame look smaller, like an illusion. But then you can also accentuate that more by making it even much more pronounced. But it's fine. Really like this. And I'm not really a fan of vignettes, but I think just because of the placement and the wide angleness of the shot, we can just add change the midpoint, roundness, feather. Yeah, it really did wonders for the shot. I'm done. I'm done. Just double checking. Thinking this screen here can be underexposed just a fraction. There we go. Yep. I like this shot. That's it for me, guys. I think it's awesome. As always, may the Lord Jesus Christ bless you. Have a fantastic day. And I will definitely see you in the next one.